Hi, I'm Coach Jamie Dreyer from Overhaul Training, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can release trigger points and get good healthy length back into both of your external rotators of the shoulder, the Teres Minor and the infraspinatus. We're going to go ahead and use the PUREWAVE, a Theracane, and a PMF Stretch. Now, before we jump into this though, what I'd like you to do is there's a really simple little test that you can do to check the range of motion of your external rotators so that after we've released the trigger points and done the stretch, you can actually see for yourself how much it's improved. It's really simple. All right, so we know the muscles are external rotators, so we want to test their length by going into internal rotation. Then once the hand is on your back, you're going to see how far up towards your shoulder blade you can reach. Then you'll simply go ahead, make a mental note of how high it was on one side, and then do the same exact thing on the other side. Looks kind of like this. Simply take the hand behind your back and reach as high up as you can on your shoulder blade. Take a mental note of where it is. For me, that's about halfway on my shoulder, and the other arm, not even hitting the bottom. So when you do this, don't wiggle your hand up. Just take it as far up as you can, place it there, make a good mental note, and then let's get into the PMF Stretch. The Teres Minor and infraspinatus attach to and cover pretty much the bottom 2/3 of your scapula. So as long as you can sense where that ridge is towards the upper section of your scap, if you're below that, then you are likely on trigger points for those two muscles. So using the point stick on your PUREWAVE, you just search around looking for your first tender spot, crank it up, let it roar for about 30 seconds, and then you start looking around for the next tender spot. If you have a Theracane, you can dig around the same exact spots with that as well. Once you spend a little bit of time getting those trigger points to release, we now move on to the PMF Stretch. For some of you, simply getting into position is going to be all the stretch you need to start with. And position, I mean getting into the start of what we did for the test earlier. We're getting the hand behind the back. For a lot of people, if you're really jacked up in the rotators, this could be a lot of work in and of itself. Now, if you're ready to go a little bit farther, my elbow's sticking out here. I would go ahead and find something. So I'm going to pretend the PUREWAVE is some type of a stationary object, and I would put my elbow in front of it and then start to rotate and turn my body into the stationary object, which then pushes the elbow forward more. Once you spend some time in releasing the trigger points, we now move on to the stretch phase. Now I'm going to give you 3 different versions of the stretch because depending on how jacked up your rotators are, the earlier demonstrations might be all you need to start with for today. And you could build into it over time as you're consistent with these stretches and the range of motion increases. So the first part is to simply get your hands behind your back like you did with the test, and then to relax the shoulder. See how as soon as I start to think of relaxing, the whole shoulder falls and the elbow comes forward a little bit more? Most of us had a tendency of kind of guarding and holding, engaging the musculature because it's uncomfortable. And we're trying to protect that shoulder joint. So your first step is simply breathe, relax, and let the shoulder go. If you've made it that far and you're okay to continue, the next thing would be is to find maybe a door frame or the corner of a wall that you can put your elbow in front of and then slowly start to turn your body so you're pressing into the wall. That's going to push the elbow forward and it's going to deepen the stretch for you. Now, take a few deep breaths there. Again, relax the shoulder, and if you're ready to go farther, you can now do the PNF, the contract relax portion of the stretch. And I'm going to go ahead and grab it with my fingertips because I don't have a door frame right here. But once I've gotten that, you need a little resistance for the elbow to push into. I'm going to take a big breath, and I'm going to push my elbow back. That would be pushing it back into the wall, but I've got my fingers hooking on it, so I'm getting the resistance from my fingers. Hold that contraction for 5 seconds, and then relax. Let go of the contraction. Try to let go of guarding the shoulder. Let it go a little farther. Take a few deep breaths, and feel that stretch increase. If you feel like you're up for it, you can do the contract relax 3 to 5 times, or you could just hang out here and continue to focus on breathing, which for some might be plenty, because it's plenty for me right now. This is pretty intense. All right, gang, bonus time here. I'm going to teach you a new little trick. Maybe some of you have used this before. For others, it'll be new science. It's about the law of reciprocal inhibition. So, in the law of reciprocal inhibition, you've got two muscles that work opposite each other, antagonists. And generally, if one is really tight, it's going to pull a joint in a particular way so that the other muscle needs to be overly loose. Now, in order to kind of rebalance this, you can start to strengthen and contract the looser, weaker muscle. And in response, in order to get the joint to balance out, the tighter muscle is given a signal that it needs to start loosening up and relaxing, so that eventually you can try and find a nice balance in between. So seeing as we're trying to lengthen our external rotators, we're yet again going to go into internal rotation. But instead of pulling and stretching, we're actually going to engage the internal rotators and strengthen. In this position now, we're going to go ahead and take your hand and pull it off of your back. Really simple. You're just going to pull it off and try and hold it there. You might feel a cramp, you might feel nothing, but give it a little try. Hold it for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then go ahead and relax again, shake it out, take it back in, and go ahead and engage it even harder this time, pulling the arm off of your back. You can even get really fancy and alternate between the two. Put the arm back there, get a stretch, do a contract, relax with the PMF, and then after you're done, shake it out, put the arm back there, and then engage the internal rotators and try and pull the arm off of your back. Go back and forth, and you should start to notice a real difference. All right, gang, now that we've released some trigger points with the PUREWAVE and we've stretched the external rotators quite a bit, let's go ahead and retest and see what kind of improvements we've had in this right arm. So there you go. First time I did this test on the right arm, I wasn't even able to make it to the bottom of the scapula, but now I'm able to make it at least an inch, maybe even 2 inches past the bottom tip of my scapula, which for me is a great improvement after doing this just for one go for a few minutes. I'm Coach Jamie Dreyer. Let me know how you end up doing with your own test, and I'll see you in the next video.